So now is here fundamental duties. Fundamental duties must be enforced in Supreme Court. Fundamental duties must be enforced safely in Supreme Court. So basically the topic covered in the Indian Constitution. So basically this article is talking about so petitioner filed the Supreme Court seeking the enforcement of fundamental duties under the Indian Constitution. Fundamental duty and as well as fundamental rights is very important in terms of prelims and mains exam. So basically fundamental duties Indian Constitution through comprehensive well-defined way the court has asked the center and the state to respond this matter. What is the need for? Need for enforcement fundamental duties arises due to the new illegal trends of protests by protesters in the grab of freedom of speech and expression, which has been mentioned in the Article 19. By way of blocking the road and rail routes, this is also necessary to remind citizens that fundamental duties were important as fundamental rights under the Constitution. And which court judgment is important? Ranganath Mishra case. In the Ranganath Mishra case, the court observed that fundamental duties should not only be enforced by legal sanction but also by social sanction. After all rights and duties were correlatives. So if in an exam they will ask you in a prelim section, all rights and duties were correlatives, in which judgment case it has mentioned is the Ranganath Mishra case. It has mentioned that all rights and duties were correlative. And what is the rationale behind it? So the petition referred to Bhagavad Gita on the importance of duty. Lord Krishna guides Arjuna and educates him with the importance of duties in all spheres. It also referred to the erstwhile Soviet constitution where the rights and duties were placed in the same footing. Fundamental duty instill a profound sense of social responsibility towards the nation since they have to be enforced. But what exactly the scenario? So enforcement of the fundamental duties affords and protects sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. It also prepares citizens to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. It seeks to disseminate a sense of nationalism and to promote the spirit of patriotism to uphold the unity of India after emergence as China as a superpower. So what are the fundamental duties? Basically, this is not mentioned in the original constitution. So basically, in original constitution did not contain any provision related to fundamental duties. This section was added into 42nd Amendment Act, where preamble was also added the socialist word, right? So basically, the section was added through 42nd Amendment Act to the Constitution on India based on the recommendation of Swarn Singh Committee. So in your exam, they will ask the committee. Swarn Singh Committee is related to what? Fundamental duties. So fundamental duty into the list. And this idea was taken from which country? From the USSR. The constitution, Japanese constitution, is one of the other democratic nations which have a provision dealing with the duties of its citizens. Fundamental duties like DPSP, which means directive principle of a state principle, are non-justiciable. Because in 2019-20 exams, it has been asked already. So we got to know that fundamental duties and DPSP, it is non-justiciable. Swarn Singh Committee on Fundamental Duty opened that addition to enjoyment of certain rights by the citizen, they also have certain duties to perform as well. If the person have rights, they must have a duty that will show the sovereignty and integrity of our nation, right? So a new sanction part 4A was added, the only one article was inserted in it. So basically, what exactly are fundamental duties? So basically, these are our fundamental duties. To abide by the constitution and respect the ideals and institutions, the national flag and national anthem, that we should respect our national flag and national anthem. To cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our nation's struggle for freedom, what our nation are done for our freedom. To uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India, that is our fundamental duty, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so, to promote harmony and a spirit of common brotherhood, which is fraternity, brotherhood amongst all people of India, transcending religious, linguistic and national of sectional diversities, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture, to protect and improve the natural environment, to develop the scientific temper, humanism and the spirit of national equality and reform, to safeguard public property and to observe violence. So to safeguard public property is a part of fundamental duty. It's our duty to safeguard public property, to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual collective activity so that nation constantly rises to higher level of endeavor and achievement. So this is the fundamental duties which have enshrined in our Indian Constitution. So another FD was added through 86th Constitutional Amendment Act. This is you need to keep in mind. So 86th Constitutional Amendment Act and in 2002 this fundamental duty said to provide opportunity for education to child or ward between the age of 6 to 14 years. So make sure that fundamental duties apply only to citizens. Do not extend to the foreigners. Fundamental duties is only apply for citizens itself, not for the foreigners. To serve as a reminder to the citizens that while enjoying their rights, they should also be conscious of duties they owe to their country, their society and their fellow citizens. They serve as a warning against the anti-national and anti-social activities like burning the national flag, destroying public property and so on. So they serve as a source of inspiration for the citizens and to promote a sense of discipline and the commitment among them. They create a feeling that citizens are no mere spectators but active participants in the realization of national goals. That is a fundamental duty, so we must keep in mind that. They are the ideal nature and lead the citizens in the right direction. They help the courts in examining and determining the constitutional validity of law. It also helps our judicial system as well. For instance, in 1992, Supreme Court ruled that in determining the constitutionality of any law, if a court finds that law in question 6 to give effect of fundamental duty, it may consider such law to be reasonable. In relation to Article 14, equality before law, and Article 19 is here. Article 19, like 6 freedoms is used and thus saves such law information on constitutionality. So it will help you the judicial system as well. Like the importance of fundamental duty is that they define the moral obligation of all citizens to help the promotion of spirit of patriotism and uphold unity of India. Fundamental duties make citizens conscious of his social and citizenship responsibility, so shape the society in which all become solicitous and considerate of the inalienable rights of our fellow citizens. So fundamental duties make us realize that. Now here is what is the criticism of fundamental duties. They are made non-justiciable in nature. It means people do not have fear that if we not follow this, nobody can punish us. So basically they are made non-justiciable in nature. Important duties such tax paying, family planning, etc. are not covered. That's why in a huge and vast country India, the lots of people have doing tax invasion. So not covered, vague and ambiguous provision. Superfluous provisions is they would generally be followed even if they were not included. Superfluous provision, which means like to respect national flags. So being a citizen of any country, whether it could be democratic or non-democratic country, so we cannot say that it's person moral duty to like respect the nation, respect the national flag, etc. So what about the Verma committee? Verma committee is that the committee was set up in 1999. It identifies some legal provision for enforcement of FD prevention of insult to national honor, law which penalize for promoting enmity, protection of civil rights act, Wildlife Protection Act 1972 as well.